Today, y'all, I want to talk about losing everything that held you together, right? So this could be your favorite sport. This could be a hobby that you got, like working out. This could be your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Losing that, and what that feels like. When you lose something that matters to you so deeply, and when you lose something that's been holding you together, it feels like you lose yourself, and it feels like the detox from whatever high that thing was giving you, it can get so intense that you'd rather be dead than feel what you're feeling right now, And all I want to say is, when these feelings come up and you take these so-called losses, somehow there's always a greater reward, Somehow there's always like a greater space created from the space and the void that losing that person or thing gave you. It feels like a piece of you just died, being separated from that. But would you go through that thing if you're not taken care of by something higher and more powerful that's running the whole thing? Is there no point in your suffering? That's the type of stuff we think about when we're suffering, when things are going bad. We think about, what's the point of all this? You can't see it how future you would see it, You see it how you now sees it. And that's something that I've had to really step into recently, because I just ended a relationship, 8-month relationship, and it's not easy, There's been worse days in the relationship, but it's really opened my eyes to how much time and energy one can spend on the thing that keeps them going, on being focused on everything outside of you and not everything inside of you, how distracted one can get, how distracted I got, and now there's no distraction, pretty much. And that hurts, man. That hurts, It hurts not being distracted and being fully in the now. It fucking sucks. And it feels like I'm being torn apart, man. It feels like I'm being torn apart. Because I lost what once gave me comfort, And now that thing doesn't give me comfort anymore. It's turned on me, But it's put me in a space of deep reflection, It's put me in a space of contemplation and prayer and solitude, true solitude. Not solitude with another person on the side, Not solitude with someone to call. Not solitude with just solitude, man, in everything, Because a relationship could really make you feel like you and that person are one person, But you're not. You're not. I don't want to turn to one of those guys that calls love fake, and one of those guys that calls the attraction that women show you fake, because in a way it's like I ate that, you know? I ate that. Even if it was shit, even if it was fake, I ate that, you know? I kept having pieces of that because it fed something, you know? This is not entirely all one person's fault. It's both people's fault, you know? But it's like, how can you blame this on the other person when things go left, you know? It was completely my decision to be there. I chose to be there, and I chose to see it through, and I chose to see it end, you know? So I can't put that on the other person, you know? That's what I've realized recently, you know? It's like, the individual will try, like, if you're hurt, you're gonna try to blame everything else, you know? You're gonna try to blame shit that happened months ago, you know? But it's not anyone else's fault but mine, you know? For being hurt. I signed up for that, man. I saw it through, I felt it through. I devoted my time and my life and my being to that person, and it didn't work. And that makes me feel inadequate, you know? It makes me feel like I'm not enough, you know? At least now it does. There will be a day when things feel different and I can see this through to the fullest, you know? But for now, I gotta keep my head down and go through the phases, you know? I'm gonna catch y'all.